Today, Baba is talking about the picture of the ladder. And Baba says that I am the one who tells you the secret of rise and fall, of, day and night. Yes, so you see, sometimes when we listen, when we hear Baba's knowledge, just remember, just remind yourself when you first heard Baba's knowledge that I was a deity, and then I took birth after birth after birth, and I have come to this condition. It was such new knowledge, and it filled us with amazement. And many times I feel that the most important thing on this path is your ability to keep yourself constantly amazed and intoxicated. Because life is all about the flavor, or the charm of life is all about being constantly amazed and intoxicated. And the thing is that we have this tendency, this sanskar of taking everything for granted. And then we don't. So first time we listen to Baba's knowledge, it fills us with so much of amazement, and we think about it and we are mesmerized by this knowledge, and it makes our intellect go into a spin, and so many things start, so many points. We don't even have to churn. It just kind of our intellect awakens, and so much of churning starts happening. And then after some time, we stop that churning. We stop being amazed. And that intoxication. So Baba always says, apni ghot to nasha chadhe. So if you churn on your own, then you will stay intoxicated. And we listen to knowledge in the beginning because it's new knowledge, we churn on it, and then slowly we stop churning on it, and it doesn't give us the same intoxication. Just like, when you play a game, or drive on a certain road, or go to a certain destination for the first time, because everything is new, you feel the thrills of it. But then again, next time you do it, you don't feel it. And Shakespeare also put it like this, that nobody ever treaded the same path with the same enthusiasm again. But Baba says, in Brahmin life, we have to have the ability to churn on knowledge again and again, and keep ourselves in constant zeal and enthusiasm. And this knowledge is so wonderful that if you make the effort to churn it again and again, then you will feel amazed. And in my personal experience, I have seen that, although I have received the knowledge of the soul and Baba and the Srishti Chakra, or the ladder, for some time now, but every time I sit and start thinking about how wonderful I am, or how wonderful Baba is, or how wonderful the play is, it really fills you with so much intoxication. And Baba today tells us that I give you the secret. So I tell you many secrets which are hidden in the ladder, in the picture of the ladder. And you see, the picture of the ladder shows who we were and what we have become. So our whole journey of 84 births is there in the ladder. So how many of you can explain the picture of the ladder very well? So if you are given a 1-hour session, can you explain the picture of the ladder properly? So yes, so So whatever you can explain today, write that. Write an essay about the picture of the ladder and count how many words can you explain the picture of the ladder in whatever language you are comfortable in. So either English or Hindi, write that, write that knowledge and send, so that that exercise will help you build that intoxication also. And you see, in the picture of the ladder, Baba tells us that in the first step we are Sato Pradhan. So have you seen, there's a picture of a soul beside that first step, and it writes Sato Pradhan Atma. So the soul is Sato Pradhan in the first step. And then slowly, gradually, we take birth after birth after birth, and we come to this stage. And Baba says that only in the picture of the ladder we get the knowledge about our path of devotion and our path of knowledge. So you see, Baba says for 2500 years there is knowledge, or there is the attainment of knowledge. Not even knowledge, but the fortune created through knowledge. Knowledge we receive now, but there is the fortune created through knowledge, which is called pralabdha. So that pralabdha, or that fortune, is reaped for 2500 years. And then when there is devotion, then we perform devotion, and devotion from copper age, we descend. That is the descending stage. So Baba tells us that in 2 yugas, from Satyug to Treta Yuga, we only descend 2 degrees. So 16 celestial degrees in Satyug and 14 in Treta Yuga. But in the rest half of the cycle, we deplete ourselves completely. So Baba says that this is a huge piece of knowledge, because we understand that the first half is very different from the second half. And so you see, Baba uses the word dance of knowledge and dance of devotion. So through the dance of knowledge we ascend, and through the dance of devotion we descend. Now, what is the difference between knowledge and devotion? Yes, so what is the difference between knowledge and devotion? How many points of differences can you write about knowledge and devotion? Just ask yourself today and make that note also. How many points of difference between knowledge and devotion? So first, knowledge means knowing Baba. Yes, and devotion happens when you forget Baba. So first thing is, knowledge means when Baba comes and tells us about himself. And devotion happens when we forget Baba. And when we forget Baba, and then we defame Baba. So what is defamation? What is the definition of defamation? So the definition of defamation is when you start spreading an information about somebody which is not true. So that is called defamation. And Baba says that the first thing that you start telling about me is, I am everywhere, I am omnipresent. And in that, so your Buddhi Yoga had to be with me. But now that you say, I am omnipresent, your Buddhi Yoga is with everyone. And then instead of gaining power, you're losing power because of that Buddhi Yoga. So Baba says, I tell you how you defame me. So you had to know me as I am, and through my remembrance, you had to color yourself in my company. But instead what you did is, you forgot me and you started giving me attributes that word true about you. And Baba says, about yourself also, you didn't say you are omnipresent, but about me, you started saying I'm omnipresent. Yes, so that much of defamation you did. Or, you started saying that Baba is the one who gives sorrow and happiness. So that is also such a defamation for the one who is the bestower of eternal happiness, or, at least imperishable happiness for 21 births. Or the one who makes you pure, you started saying that one is omnipresent in the impure world. So you made Baba also impure. So you started saying that Baba also comes into the cycle and becomes impure, because you say the soul and God are the same. So Baba says, you start defaming me, and because of that you fall. And devotion is all about worshipping your idea of God, the human concept of God. And the human concept of God is nothing like God. So Baba is completely the opposite of what we start portraying Baba to be. And then, yes, one thing is there, that we remember Baba. We remember Baba in devotion also. And on the path of knowledge also, Baba teaches us to remember him. But the thing is, when you when you forget that Baba is a point of light, then you start remembering a bodily being. And then by remembering bodily beings, you become more and more impure, rather than taking power from Baba and purifying yourself. So Baba says, the first mistake that happens, because of which you fall, is you forget me and you start defaming me. And then when I come, I give you my introduction. I tell you about myself. What am I like? What do I look like? Where do I live? Or, what am I like? What are my qualities? What are my powers? So this is the big knowledge that Baba gives us. And then Baba says, in the picture of the ladder, you see that Baba comes and makes us sit in the confluence age beside the iron age, and Baba sustains us, and then we become light, we become pure, and we go back first to the sweet home and then come back to the new world. So this is one thing that we understand in the picture of the ladder, the story of rise and fall. And then in the picture of the ladder, you also understand one more thing, which is the story of karma. So in the picture of the ladder, we understand that what is the time period of akarma, vikarma and sukarma. So you see, in the world, nobody knows that karma is related to time. Yes, people think that you can do any karma whenever you want. So, people think that, whatever karma you do is completely about you. It's your choice. But we in Gyan also understand that karma is also an aspect of time. And time, fortune and karma are related. Yes, so that is why we are able to be non-judgmental. So you see, Gyan is about, so there are three factors. There is karma, there is time, and there is Baba. Yes, so when we understand Gyan, we operate between these three. So they are like a triangle, and you are in the middle of the triangle if you are completely imbibing Gyan. So let's say you are relying too much on the theory of karma, then what that theory of karma makes you is very judgmental. Or you are saying, God does everything, then it makes you very irresponsible, because you are not taking responsibility of your actions. And when you do not understand time, then you do not understand the power of now. Then you keep wasting your time and not creating your fortune. So Baba says these three factors are important if you want to be in a stable and unshakable stage and move ahead in your effort. Now Baba gives us the knowledge of time and karma. And Baba says that in Satyug and Treta Yuga, there is only akarma. So no soul, nobody does any sinful action in Satyug and Treta Yuga. And why is it that we don't perform any sinful action in Satyug and Treta Yuga? Because in Satyug and Treta Yuga, we are naturally soul conscious. We create that stage of soul consciousness now. And when we go to the world of heaven for 2 yugas, we are naturally soul conscious. So when we are soul conscious, I the soul am in the dharana of my purity, my peace, my state of love and power. I do not perform any sinful action. So there is only akarma in Satyug. Now there is no sinful action, there is no punya karma or charitable action also in Satyug. Why? Because every soul is in happiness. So you cannot give happiness or remove sorrow. And because punya karma is giving happiness. So when every soul is at the brink of their happiness, so they are at the peak of their happiness, you cannot give happiness to anybody. And because you're soul conscious, you don't perform any vikarma also. So in Satyug and Treta Yuga, there is what we call akarma. And then from the copper age until the iron age, we have what we call vikarma. And why are we doing vikarma? Because we are neither soul conscious nor God conscious. So we forget Baba, we defame Baba, and we also forget that we are souls. And Baba also points out that only when we come to know Baba, we can come to know ourselves. Because what is the soul? The soul is the child of God. So can a child have his introduction without the parent? The child cannot have his introduction without the parent. If there is an orphan whose parents leave him at birth, then can the child ever receive his introduction, physical introduction, his caste, religion, surname? No, they never receive it. Why? Because the child's identity is related to the parent. So Baba says, from the copper age, you forget me, you defame me, and then you defame yourself also. You forget yourself also. Because when you remember yourself, when you are soul conscious, then you are like a deity. And when you forget who you are, then you start engaging in impure actions. So you forget Baba, you forget yourself, and then you start creating sinful actions. And then Baba says, then there is the time of Sangam Yuga, when you understand Baba, and then by knowing Baba, remembering Baba, and understanding who you are according to Baba's knowledge, you practice being soul conscious and practice remembrance of me, and then you absolve yourself of your sins, and then you can go back to the world of purity again. So Baba gives this knowledge, and then Baba says that only at this time, that is why you have to pay attention to this time and not waste even a second of this valuable time. So Baba says, now I have come and I am telling you to remember me, and to first be soul conscious, then remember me, and then absolve yourself of your sins and go back to your sweet home and to the new world. So Baba says this is the story of the ladder. And Baba says that Baba has told us about the subtle region. And Baba says that every soul, at least a Brahmin soul, has an angelic stage and a deity stage. So we were angels, we were deities, and now we have become this, and then we have to transition from this Brahmin to an angelic stage to a deity stage. Now, did you ever think like this before Baba came? So it was never in our awareness. Although, even in religion, we are talking about, we say this is our Kul Devi or Kul Devata. So this is the deity of our clan. So that means that we belong to that clan. So we belong to that deity clan. But still, we never think that, I have to transition from a human to a deity. And Baba says that I come and tell you how, this 84-step journey is now over. And now you have to have unlimited disinterest with this old world. Because according to the knowledge of the ladder, we are at the last step. And now we have to go back home. So Baba says you not only get a sense of, the karma that you can do now, or that Baba is here, but also about the time. And you see, time and consciousness are very related, because just like if we are body conscious and role conscious, we are also very time conscious. Yes, have you seen that everybody is very time conscious? So let's say you are feeling lazy and not packing your things, and you have to leave at 3 in the morning. Let's say you have to catch a flight. Then what happens is, when it is time, so when you see that only half an hour is left and then I have to leave, then you start feeling the energy to do things and pack things and leave. So why? Because we are very time conscious. So just like if you are in office and you are very absorbed in your work and you are very focused in your work, but then as soon as you see the clock and it is hitting 6 in the evening or something, then suddenly your consciousness will be, I have to go home. Then you will not find your heart with your work. So Baba says that now Baba is giving us even about this time of the body. So in this limited lifespan also, once you start hitting 60 or 70 years of age, then you start feeling that now, I have to prioritize different things. And people think that, it's about changes in the body, but no, we are very time conscious. We are age conscious, time conscious, and Baba gives us the knowledge of what age we are in, what time we are in, and Baba says whatever you are seeing with these two eyes is going to perish now. So Baba says this knowledge of the ladder, when it enters in our intellects, then we become time conscious, we become God conscious, and we become soul conscious. Because it is at this time that we receive the knowledge of Baba, we receive the knowledge of the soul, and we receive the knowledge that this is the time when we have to prepare to go back. And when you become all three, then what happens is you start making effort. And what is the effort? So there are two primary efforts. So Baba says, Baba never asks us to leave the household or anything, but Baba makes us make two efforts, primary efforts. One is to stay viceless like a lotus while living in the household. And Baba says that's not difficult if you're soul conscious and in remembrance of Baba, because you are a pure soul anyway, and Baba is the ocean of purity anyway. So what you have to do is to stay pure while living in a household, you have to be a karma yogi. Yes, so what is the difference between one who is a karma yogi and one who is a karm bandhani. So, in the world, people are in karm bandhan, and they are called karm bandhani souls, the ones who are in the bondage of karma. And we are called karm yogis. So, karm yogis are the ones moving towards karmatit, or moving towards that stage of free from bondage. And how do you change from a karm bandhani to a karm yogi? So, whatever you do, just understand that you are an instrument doing it. You are not the one doing it. You are not doing it for your people, for your business, for your body. You are an instrument. Everything belongs to Baba. And once you surrender, once you have this exchange, so today Baba is also talking about the ones who take all treasures from Baba. Yes, but who are the ones who take all treasures from Baba? The ones who give everything to Baba, the ones who become full trustees, they are the ones who take all treasures from Baba. So, if there is any sense of ownership in this old world, you cannot take treasures from Baba, because you cannot devote your thought, your buddhi, your heart to Baba, because your heart, your buddhi, your mind belongs to the one you think you own. Whether it's the body or the relationships or attainments or anything. So Baba says that first what we have to do is we have to remove our sense of ownership from everything here. And for that you have to understand that everything is something that you attained here. So when the soul comes here, it takes a body, it acquires relationships, Once the soul leaves the body, there is nothing that belongs to the soul. Yes, everybody says you will leave empty-handed. So Baba says the soul doesn't come with anything, the soul doesn't take anything. But in the sense of I and mine, the soul loses itself. And then you have to finish this sense of I and mine, regain yourself and go back. So Baba says just become like a lotus while living in the household. But for that you have to understand that you are a soul and imbibe that very well. And then whatever you are doing, just surrender it to Baba. So all your actions should be on Shrimat. So even if I'm taking care of the Lokik family, I'm not taking care of Lokik family. I'm following Baba's Shrimat because Baba has told me to take care of the Lokik family. And Baba has told me to take care of the body. So even while taking care of the body or Lokik family or work, I will be able to remember Baba or be a karm yogi when I am a trustee. So a trustee and a karm yogi are the same. If I'm not a trustee, so you see, if somebody has given you something in trust and you are even taking care of it, let's say, somebody has left his child with you for 2 days and said, you feed him and take care of him and while we are away. So then whenever you're taking care of the child, you will remember the parents because they are the one who entrusted you with the child. You cannot have ownership over the child. You will remember, and something goes wrong, you feel, what will they say? Or something goes right, you will feel that they will be happy when they see this development in the child because you are just a trustee. So Baba says, develop that attitude while living in the household that I have surrendered my life to Baba. So you are not living in a household because you want to. So when we belong to Baba, we have to belong to Baba 100%. So how many of you, if Baba took care of everything that, right now you're handling, how many of you are ready to come and live in Madhuban or in the center? Yes? So are you that surrendered? Ask yourself. Because, Baba's children means surrendered children. Surrendered children means you are living at home on the order of Baba. If Baba says today leave that home and stay somewhere else, you will you will stay there, stay where Baba asks you to. Not that Baba has come and in my context Baba is giving gyan. No. Baba has given me directions, okay, in accordance with my Karam Bandhan, but I am fully surrendered. That has to be the attitude. And if that is so, then whatever you do, you will be able to remember Baba and you will be able to follow Baba's directions in everything you do. And Baba says, and when you are, and Baba says, when you do that, you will be able to win over vices. Because vices come from the seed of I and mine. So when you remember Baba's Srimat of purity, of lovefulness, or being attachment free, or investing everything in seva. So when you, according to Baba's Srimat, when you're living, then you cannot be vicious and work according to Srimat at the same time. So Baba says, when you make this effort, then you will be able to go back to the pure world. First first is awareness. So awareness sets the tone of your consciousness. So when you're aware about time, Baba is giving us the knowledge of time. Baba is giving us the knowledge of Baba. Baba is giving us the knowledge of the soul. But in order to be soul conscious, God conscious, and time conscious, so that you can make effort, you have to churn on this knowledge. And when you churn on the knowledge of the soul, you become soul conscious. When you churn that, Baba has come from the soul world for me to purify me, then you have this, interest that I should remember Baba and go back with Baba, or remember Baba and give the return of his sustenance. And then when your time, Baba gives us the knowledge of the time, but if you don't rotate the Swadershan Chakra, then you are living your life just like everybody else who thinks that, this Kali Yuga is going to last for 40,000 years. So if you churn on Baba's knowledge of the ladder, because, we receive knowledge, but knowledge, if not churned and imbibed, is just like information. Knowledge has the power to shift consciousness, but only when that knowledge is churned. If that knowledge is not churned, then you live in the same consciousness in which you always lived. And there is a saying that no problem is ever solved with the same consciousness with which it is created. So Baba gives us new knowledge so that we churn on it and create this soul consciousness that Baba is here, and consciousness that I belong to Baba, and the consciousness of time. So Baba says all this knowledge is contained in the picture of the ladder, but very few children, children are number wise because children are not churning the knowledge. So when you keep churning, then you understand that now I have to go back. So this shift has to be made through effort. All right, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
What I understand from today's Murli is that Baba has come to share this knowledge and to take us back to the pure world. And here we are from 63 births. Our mind and intellect on basis of Ravan Mat has been polluted very much. That's why Baba always asks us to remember more and more, so that Dushit Buddhi and Man. And in Hindi we can also say मन में पाप होता है जैसे that is impurity, all negative feeling, thoughts, emotions and patterns. And when that is present there always, then how can we remember Baba?
Correct.
And man ka paap, it will finish by remembrance of Baba only.
Right.
And then only we can become Punya Atma. And only then we can go back to the pure world.
Right.
When we have no negative anything left in ourselves. And this can only be possible by remembrance of Baba.
Right.
And some Baba gives us practices for whole day, so that we don't get distracted here and there and don't waste our time in this.
Right.
And have awareness of time also. And that's why Baba is insisting on more remembrance, because as in Lokik also, parents also have this concern for their children to give them the best.
Right.
And this is Baba's love for us, and we are honored. And Baba has chosen every child of his, because he knows us more than us.
Right.
He knows our potential.
Yes.
He knows very well. Every child has that potential, but due to that pap karma and pap patterns in the intellect and mind, we are not taking that choice.
Right. Right. So we have
This
to.
is what I understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Shanti Devi.
Om Shanti.
Remaining on this path consistent is very difficult, and to stay motivated and intoxicated, it becomes very important to churn, to keep churning the knowledge very regular basis. And you said that a shift of consciousness can only happen when the churning of the knowledge, whatever is given to us, is done.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a mere shift, mere piece of information what we are just gathering.
Right. Right. So that effort has to be made, and that is why, sitting in silence and, or even while working, paying attention to what am I thinking about. So in my personal experience, the most important aspect of Brahmin life is self-talk. What are you talking to yourself about, and how are you talking to yourself? So if you are talking to yourself about the truths that Baba is telling you, and if you're talking to yourself seated on the seat of, Swaman, of knowledge and love and purity, then your consciousness will rise. And if you are talking to yourself in an ordinary way or about matters of the world all the time, then that consciousness shift is very difficult. So I have felt that, the way you, so this is what becomes churning. So if you keep talking to yourself about what Baba said in the Murli, or what Baba is telling about the secrets of the drama, then you will start thinking knowledgefully. And that will shift your change your actions into knowledgeful. So this is the thing, okay? Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
The very beautiful thing that I learned today, which was, today, is that the triangle of karma, time and God, and we have to be somewhere in the middle, where we are both time conscious, neither too tilted this side nor too tilted that side, somewhere in the middle.
Correct.
So this is a very beautiful thing that I learned today.
Thank you. Om Shanti.